man, boy, the Cowboys corner just kind of bothers me a little bit. It could really be a bit bothersome when you think about Cowboy cornerback and how they've been operating. Not that fan too cold. Let me just cut it off. Cowboys have the potential, or at least the past couple of years, the Cowboys have had the potential to be phenomenal at corner. Phenomenal at corner. Teflon is what I would call it. The Cowboys have an opportunity to do this, but injury gets in the way, nonsense gets in the way, father time, all this stuff just kind of gets in the way of the Cowboys cornerback room being truly Teflon. We never got a chance to get Trevon Diggs, DaRon Bland, and Jordan Lewis for a full season. And then when we tried to push Jordan Lewis off the bridge and bring in Stephon Gilmore, we never got a chance to get Trey Diggs and Stephon Gilmore outside and then DaRon Bland playing the nickel. We never got a chance to fill that out properly. Right? Now, at that time, what we did end up getting is we got DaRon Bland, Stephon Gilmore, and Jordan Lewis, and that's a cool combination. But that combination ain't Teflon, you understand? And I think these Teflon combinations, they don't only revolve around like our guys being healthy, like the three of them or whatever. But I think those groups are at their best when Trey Diggs is involved. I'm not one of these new Cowboy people. I'm not one of these Cowboy people that's all on the internet saying disparaging things about Trevon Diggs. I can say some real things about Trevon Diggs because, I've heard people say some real talk about Trevon Diggs that wouldn't be flattering to him. But if you just asking Voch independently, like how I feel, I am a huge fan of Trevon Diggs. I was around when Trevon caught 11 picks, like the 2 years ago. However long, I was about to say the other day, about 3 years ago, Trevon Diggs caught like 11 picks in 1 year, and I was like, damn, boy, Diggs is special. Or his rookie campaign, I believe, when he caught like 7. And look, we got the internet. We ain't doing nothing else. Let's just look this up real fast, just for the sake of being correct real quick. Trevon Diggs. I normally type game log, but let's see stats here. So his rookie campaign, he had 3 and a ton of pass deflections. That's what that was. He had 3 picks and a gang of pass deflections. That's what that was. He had 14 pass deflections and 3 interceptions, which is phenomenal. But in 2021, he had the 11 picks and 21 passes. So like 10 extra pass deflections on top of his 11 picks. Ladies and gentlemen, that is stupid. That is ridiculous. Trey Diggs, he had a cool little year after that. That wasn't the best year for the Cowboys, and he's kind of been hurt ever since. That upsets the piss out of me. I don't want people to lean into this idea that, when Trey Diggs is not catching interceptions, he's bad. I almost got into an argument on DallasCowboys.com about that. I think when Trey Diggs is playing his best football, we've seen him line up against Jamar Chase and limit him to 3 catches. Or Justin Jefferson, limit him. Terry McLaurin, like some of these best receivers in the league. I've seen Trevon Diggs line up against those guys and hold them to something that we don't even have to worry about. Like Dan Quinn used Trevon Diggs properly. So when I think about my best combination of cornerbacks, it has to involve the dude that got 11 picks that 1 year and 14 pass deflections the year before, because that dude is special to me. Now let's just move Trevon Diggs to the side. Let's just push him over here to the side. DaRon Bland breaking the pick 6 record. Hey! DaRon Bland breaking the pick 6 record is special. Teams were scared to throw the ball at DaRon Bland. They were afraid to throw the ball at DaRon Bland. Now, there were times where they said, all right, cool, well, something got to give. We just going to throw the ball at DaRon Bland. Well, he ended up intercepting or pick sixing. You know what I mean? DaRon Bland got those same kind of ball skills that Trevon has, right? So when we got both of them together, we was like, oh, I can't cuss on Bleacher Report. Shucks. Oh, sheesh. We have an opportunity to take 11 interception Trey Diggs and pick six breaking record DaRon Bland and put them together. Put them together. We can't always get what we want, huh, ladies and gentlemen? Let me look up DaRon Bland stats just because we ain't doing nothing else. DaRon Bland. What was that year DaRon Bland was going crazy out here with the pick sixes? What year was that? He's always been ball skills guy. But what was that year like DaRon Bland was just going stupid for no reason? In 2023? Yep. 2023, DaRon Bland had 9 picks. 5 of those was touchdowns. Bro, 5 of those were touchdowns. And his longest return was 63 yards. Bro, DaRon Bland, I believe, had more touchdowns than our receivers did. Or just each of our receivers had individually on the squad. That's how ridiculous that DaRon Bland year was. You understand what I'm saying? I think what made DaRon Bland special in his pass catching pursuits is that DaRon Bland was always kind of at his best when he was floating around with the second and third guy. Nothing against DaRon Bland. That's just, I mean, the game is just the game. Nothing against DaRon Bland. The game just happened to be the game. DaRon Bland, when he's against wide receivers that are inferior to him, DaRon Bland gets to go party. When DaRon Bland, for example, went like later on in that season, right? In that same season, I think DaRon Bland didn't win Defensive Player of the Year because at the end of the season, we started seeing wide receiver ones put hands on him a little bit. DK Metcalf was like one of those guys. And I famously Cowboy fans remember, like, hey, put Stephon Gilmore over there. Hey, okay, Gilmore did a little better than Bland, and Bland had to go find somebody else that was in that little range. But at the end of the day, if Diggs and Bland were together, Diggs would be taking away the superstar wide receiver and still catching picks on that guy. And Bland would be the guy that'll be cleaning up, doing cleanup duty on the 2 and 3 guy and catching pick sixes against him. And the one thing that we missed is that we didn't get pick six record DaRon Bland playing alongside of 11 interception Trevon Diggs. I don't know if 11 interceptions was the record, but I know he tied, I believe, a Cowboys franchise record with his 11 interceptions. Either way, a stupid, ridiculous year. A stupid, ridiculous year. And what you get with that Teflon type stuff, with that Teflon cornerback group is, hey, y'all got to throw the ball at one of us. Y'all got to throw the ball at one of us. Like, that's the whole key to this thing, right? Move DaRon Bland over to the side. Just move him on over. I mentioned the Seahawk game where DK Metcalf was kind of putting hands on DaRon Bland, and we had to go grab Gilmore. But like, yo, Gilly, could you go over there and cover DK Metcalf, please? And Gilmore did a pretty decent job of doing so. For the rest of that season, Gilmore and Jordan Lewis were your 2 best corners. I'm keeping it a buck with you. I'm trying to tell you something. Towards the end of that season, Stephon Gilmore and Jordan Lewis were 2 of your best corners that year. I think last year Jordan Lewis was your best corner, like in general. Like the whole way, Jordan Lewis was just your best corner in general. So you get Diggs hurt with a big contract. DaRon Bland got hurt one year, but it's all right. Bland's around now. He's chilling. You know what I mean? He's just doing his thing. Gilmore gone because we ain't brought him back. He could come back, but he ain't back. And I know I say this as a joke all the time to be funny, like for real. Like I be joking when I be saying, "Oh, this player." Jordan Lewis is literally in Jacksonville. I said as a joke, but I'd be damned. Jordan Lewis really ended up in Jacksonville. It is what it is. So, dog, once upon a time where we were Teflon at corner, now it just seems like, oh, we just got questions, bro. We just got like this was one of our strongest position groups. This was one of our strongest position groups just a couple of years ago. Now we're scrambling to fit bodies in place. Now we're scrambling to fit bodies in place, and it upsets the piss out of me. I can't stand it. I don't like it. Here's the thing about injured cornerback Trevon Diggs. Here's the thing about Trevon Diggs, right? He's hurting now because he got hurt at the end of the season. I was so out on the Cowboys, I ain't even noticed. I like Trey hurt. Man, I was so sick of the Cowboys last year, bro. I didn't even know Trey was hurt. I said, Trey hurt. And I was doing post-game shows and everything. I ain't even remember Trey being hurt. I don't even recall Trey Diggs being. You know what I'm saying? Like he's around. Why is he around? He hurt. I don't know. But Trey hurt, and it's one of them end of the season hurt hard, carry into the next season kind of hurts, right? So this 2025 season, Trevon Diggs isn't going to be ready game one. Couple ways to look at that. There's a couple ways to look at that. You could go, well, what are we going to do for the first 10 to 12 weeks? And that's fair. Another way to look at that is, well, it don't really matter because the games that matter the most are the end of the season games, the postseason, the playoff games, right? Or those games at the end where we're fighting for playoff seasons, for playoff seeding. That'll be fair. I don't hate that at all. I don't hate that. But here's the BS. We just don't know if Trey Diggs is ever gonna be back to the dude they caught 11 interceptions.
Did you hear what I said?
I mean, I know that Trey Diggs is hurt and he has to recover. Having to recover is cool, but something about these injuries, especially when these guys take their injury recovery into their own hands. Trey Diggs, it's some about recovering from injury that I fear they don't come back as the same guy. Now, if you just trust the process and believe in Britt Brown, you typically come back just fine. Dak has come back just fine. Overshown's come back just fine. Like Britt Brown's gotten guys back to be able to play football. If you Michael Gallup and you're thinking about retiring from football, maybe you don't come back just fine. If you Trevon Diggs, you want to recover on the outside of the team, then maybe you don't come back just fine. But typically, for the most part, the people that lean into Britt Brown's program, they come back just fine. And when I'm walking in the Cowboys building to do the podcast radio show that we do, we can look over to the right. We can see Britt Brown working with guys on cords. I look over. I can't pull my phone out and record. That's all right. But I can at least look over there and be like, oh, well, that's Britt Brown and whoever the hell, Damone Clark on the chorus or Savon Ravel on the chorus. And I'd be like, all right, well, damn. I guess Ravel's doing all right. Or Dak Prescott really looks like he's in shape. That's all right, Dak. And then I just go onto my post to go and do my podcast radio show, right? We have no clue what Diggs is going to look like when he comes back. I don't know what Kaiir Elam is going to give you this year. But if Diggs doesn't come back properly, I think there's a large portion of Cowboy fans that are just going to be like, hey, man, I'd just rather roll with Elam because he's healthy. Because Diggs coming back last year, the little time that he did come back, Diggs wasn't really the guy that we wanted him to be. And that's probably because he rushed himself back from the previous injury. If he's rushing himself back from this injury, will he be like not as good as he normally is? Like, will he be the 11 interception guy? I don't think so. And I think Trevon Diggs is really good when there's other guys around him. So when Trevon Diggs, like when Bland got hurt, I don't think that was Diggs' best football. And of course, the whole season was kind of imploding around him. But if the team is good and Diggs is healthy and there's good cornerbacks around him, and I think Bland and Elam is a good combo to bring back with Trevon Diggs. I think that's a cool little combo for him. But it all revolves around Diggs coming back, and he's feeling fine. He's moving fine. He's playing well. Bland is playing for contract. I expect to see the best DaRon Bland. Kaiir Elam, in which I think he's also playing for contract. I could be tripping. Let me see something real quick. Bland was 2022. Okay. So Elam got here in, I don't know what the hell that number mean. 22, 1, 23. So Kaiir Elam was here, and also, okay, he was here in 2022 as well. Okay, cool. So Kaiir Elam and DaRon Bland are playing for contract. I'll be damned. So you get 2 contract eligible corners. Well, Elam was the first round pick, so yeah. So we might be a little early for Elam, but Bland's definitely contract. Elam's contract next year, but this is a new situation for Elam, and he's gonna want to get paid regardless. So he's gonna want to come in and play well. I don't think the trio of Diggs, Bland, and Elam is a bad thing necessarily. I got a little more faith in Elam than casual Cowboy fan, I say, but Elam is a question mark. Diggs has a good reputation, but he's a question mark. Siobhan Reveal, who's a rookie, and if he's who I think he can be really good. But you have to go for the idea that rookies aren't as good as they are when they get to the league because they're rookies. They aren't in their full body yet. They haven't experienced the NFL speed. I mean, Kalen Carson was a guy who had a lot of faith in last year, but he talked about having to react to the speed of the NFL. Well, Kalen Carson has another year under his belt. Reveal is more talented on paper than Kalen Carson as a draft prospect. But Carson does have a year of the NFL under his belt, and Reveal does not. I think he's gonna be ready to go like next year and the year after that. I think this year we should be just waiting for Reveal to kind of get acclimated to the NFL. I'm not trying to rush Reveal out there. Then there's the fact that Reveal's hurt guy. He got hurt at the beginning of last year's football season. We got guys, they just hurt. Cornerback's so bad that apparently Josh Butler is the guy that the Cowboys love, and they waiting on him to get healthy for real, and they're counting on him, and they was loving Josh Butler. And dog, I was so out on last year's season, I didn't even know Josh Butler was good. A 29-year-old rookie or something like that, Josh Butler was. Dog, like I was so out on this season, I didn't care nothing about Josh Butler. But at least Josh Butler will be competing. Robert Rochelle's on this depth chart. He'll be competing. Like they'll be fighting against each other to come in here and play some corner. Keemon Hall, in which he has an advantage because he's a nickel guy, and Bland is the only other nickel guy that we know by name. Troy Pride is cool, but I mean, I don't want Troy Pride to take my job. You know what I mean? Andrew Booth, I'm surprised he's even on the team right now. So we got a lot of corners whose name that we know that likely could play. We just don't know. It depends on them. I think a good start that we can have is if Trey Diggs come in healthy and enthusiastic and ready to go. And look, when I say coming in ready to go, I mean like week 12, right? To make it like a playoff push or something like that. If the last bit of the season and the postseason is Trevon Diggs healthy, looking good, and DaRon Bland, and he's playing well, and some combination of Kaiir Elam, year 2 Kalen Carson, in which I did like what he was able to do. I don't mind though I don't mind that being your cornerback group, but this thing is gonna live and die on Trevon Diggs coming back healthy and being who he was before he was healthy. Israel McCormick got a little money, but I don't know what the hell gonna happen with Izzy. He just gonna move around and save the group. He gonna move around. He played one game in Tampa Bay in the damn playoffs, and he's earned Cowboy fan love forever. But we don't know what's gonna happen with Israel because every time it's time for Israel to come in and do something, we look at the coaches and the coaches go, "Who's Israel?" I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to cross that roads whenever we get there. But whenever we do get there, I'll be here on the Bleach Report breaking it down for you. These cornerbacks are a headache, but it is what it is. I love y'all to pieces, man. Y'all be sure to follow me at Voch Lombardi on all platforms, VOCHLOMBARDI, and be sure to